So you're at a wine tasting and someone takes a sniff of their glass and says, oh, the VA is too high on this one, or oh, it's really bready, but in a good way. What on earth are they talking about? Yes, wine does have a lot of technical terms, and no, you do not need to know them all to enjoy a glass of wine. But if you're curious, it can be helpful to know why your wine smells a bit weird or tastes a bit off. Jacky Blisson here, Master of Wine, and this is the third in this series on wine terms you pretend to know. If you didn't catch 1 or 2 and you're interested, I'll link them up here or in the show notes. So today we're looking at a few common sciencey terms. So first up, oxidation. This is when a wine has been exposed to air, to oxygen for too long. A little bit of oxygen can be a great thing for wine. This is why you'll see people swirling their glass around or swishing the wine around in their mouth, maybe even decanting. It really just allows the aromas and flavors to open up and develop. But too much oxygen, for example, a wine you've had lying around for a few days, can be a bad thing. The colors can start browning, the aromas and flavors get really dull, and overall it just tastes flat. This can happen also, for example, in a restaurant if you order the wine by the glass and it really just tastes very flat. Perhaps it's been open for too long and you should ask for another glass. There are, of course, some wine styles that are meant to be oxidative. They're made in this way in the winery. I'm talking about certain types of sherry, tawny port, for example, and they take on a beautiful, rich, nutty, appley flavor, which is really cool, but those wines are purposely made in that style. For most wines, oxidation is a fault. Next up, malolactic fermentation, which yes, sounds very daunting. And this is a process that occurs after the initial fermentation process in all red wines and a lot of white wines. So in the wine at this stage, there is a very sharp acidity called malic acidity, very tart, very sharp, and a bacteria which is either naturally occurring in the environment or can be inoculated into the wine will transform this malic tart acidity into softer, rounder lactic acidity. In certain white wines, you really get a sense of this malolactic fermentation when it's occurred because you get these buttery, yogurty notes on the palate that is from malolactic fermentation. You don't necessarily notice it on most wines though. Some winemakers will choose to block the malolactic fermentation on certain white wines, especially lower acidity white wines, to maintain freshness and brightness in their acidity. Moving on to Brettanomyces, or Brett for most wine lovers. So this is something that you can love or hate. It is a yeast that can be naturally occurring in a winery environment, and once it's present, it can spread really quickly and infect a wine. At low levels, can be kind of interesting, can give you sort of exotic spice, clove, smoky, gamey type aromas, which can be quite interesting. But at very high levels, it can be very pungent. I'm talking manure, heavy barnyardy smells of this nature, sweaty saddle, for example. Not so great. And finally, volatile acidity. So this is a bacteria that can contaminate wine and turn wine's alcohol into acetic bacteria, aka vinegar. At very low levels, I get this in a lot of wines from Italy, from Piemonte, for example. At low levels, it can be really nice. It can enhance floral and fruity notes, make a wine seem really vibrant. But at very high levels, it takes on a very sharp nail polish or varnish aroma. The acidity becomes really harsh and it just strips out all the flavor. Not great. So now you know all the terms. The next time you take a whiff of your wine, you get a little barnyardy note. You can talk about Brett, or you can just go and grab another bottle and enjoy your meal. If you like this video, as always, please consider subscribing. Send me a comment, give me a little thumbs up, tell me what you think, and until next time, santé.